What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the F124 Driver Career Mode. Yes, we are back here for round 12 in Great Britain. Of course, the birthplace of Formula One, the brilliant and magnificent Silverstone circuit. Always a banger race here, and always a banger qualifying as well. This track never, ever fails to deliver. And of course, with Lewis Hamilton taking his 104th win after nearly 1,000 days since his 103rd in the real-life Formula One season, I am more hyped than ever to jump into this. And there's also a new little patch that dropped, so it affects the handling of the traction a little bit on the cars, and it affects how the car behaves over the curbs. So apparently it's supposed to make the car behave more realistically over the curbs and things like that. And what better of a track to test it out on than the brilliant Silverstone. So let's jump straight into qualifying for the British Grand Prix.
Welcome along, everybody, to a venue that was built for speed. Once an airfield, now one of the finest racetracks in the world. It's qualifying day here at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix.
Well, here we are then, ready to start our first run of the British Grand Prix qualifying, and throughout practice the cars just felt a little unsteady throughout Maggots and Beckett's and the faster corners like that. As we go a little wide there, into Stowe, or not Stowe, excuse me, this is Copse. See, the rear there got a little unsteady, but now can we take this flat out? Nope. Just worried that the rear end is going to go on us. So now we are up too high a gear coming out of that corner onto the hanger straight. Stowe corner next. And now we're going to head down towards the Vale chicane and those corners as well as Club. So we make sure we don't lock a tire, but we go a little bit deep. And now we're going to come out of Club corner, make sure we get the throttle nice and planted. Up towards the line, it's going to be only 4th fastest for now. So where will that put us when everyone else completes their flying laps? Well, here we go then. At the end of Q1, Max Verstappen topping the timing sheets from Lando Norris, and then our teammate Charles Leclerc. So looks like a decent pace up front, but out in Q1 we have Zhou Guanyu, Nico Hülkenberg, Logan Sargent, Kevin Magnussen, and Esteban Ocon in his Alpine car. And Valtteri Bottas just squeezing through by a couple of thousandth there from his teammate. But yeah, we're going to be 10th at the end of qualifying 1. So progressing on to Q2, can we see a better lap from us? Well, as we start our first run of Q2, I did decide just to drop the front wing a little bit. That way it is more even with my rear wing settings. That way the car doesn't really bottom out as much as it was. And I think also part of the problem is that my suspension is drastically different. So now we head up over the bumps, kind of into the grass there. As we go really deep into Brooklands there, we just about get the car straightened out by the time we get to Luffield. And now out of Woodcote, get the car nice and planted all the way down the old pit straight. Well, now as we come out of the final corner, go a little bit wide onto the rumble strips, but all is fine there. Now we're going to head up towards the line. P5 for now. 2.5 tenths off of Daniel Ricciardo up in 3rd. So it looks like he has some decent pace this weekend, but I don't know if that'll be us safely through to the next session. Now on our second run of Q2, I didn't have confidence that we would make it through, as that was a very decent line through Maggots and Beckett's there. So car feeling a lot better after the setup changes I've made, but still slightly unsteady, but certainly better than what it was. So we're going to head through Stowe corner and see if we can get on the power nice and early out of the last turn there. Always seem to want to go wide, but now it's up towards the line, and that is P3 behind our teammate Leclerc. So now that should be us safely through. Well, there you are then at the end of Q2. Max Verstappen topping the timing sheets from the two Ferraris, Leclerc and myself. And then Fernando Alonso and Russell, and then Stroll. So Alonso and Stroll in 4th and 6th. Looks like some decent pace from Aston Martin this weekend. Could they finally be back after a not-so-good run of form? But Lewis Hamilton has a grid penalty. Just going to see what's going on there. Oh, illegal blocking. So, illegal blocking for Lewis Hamilton. That is why he has a 5-place grid penalty? Yes, 5-place grid penalty. But out in Q2, we have Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Bottas, Albon, and Pierre Gasly. And even though Hamilton did manage to squeeze through into Q3, he still has to take that grid penalty no matter where he qualifies. But I'm not sure if we have the pace for pole. We could definitely try to start on one of the front 3 rows, but I don't think the Ferrari car is really working, at least not for us, but it seems to be working for our teammate just fine. So, not so sure where we can stick this car. It's very unpredictable and unsteady. But let's go into Q3, see where it takes us. Well, this hasn't felt like the greatest lap so far, but it is a lap as we go up to the line, and it is 4th fastest. So we're filling in the McLaren sandwich. Well, now as we head towards Vale and out of club for the last time in this British Grand Prix qualifying session, we put ourselves in a little bit of traffic. So we have the car ahead of us will be giving off dirty air, but let's see where we can put this Ferrari car.
Okay, 1 minute remaining, just 1 minute.
Well, this lap has just been a terrible lap all around as now we head down into Vale. Lock up there from a car ahead. Can't tell who that is, but we are not going to improve on our lap. As now we go up towards the line and we stay 6th fastest and then drop down to 7th. So where will that put us? So qualifying complete, and we're P7 on the grid for the British Grand Prix. Well, there we go then. Max Verstappen, he was quickest throughout Q1 and 2, and now Q3 as well. He takes pole position here in Great Britain, and George Russell behind him. So Mercedes driver has seemed to up his pace here in this final part of quali. Then comes Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, Sergio Perez, who seems to be back on a decent qualifying form. Lance Stroll, and then ourselves, Lewis Hamilton, Piastri, and Alonso. I mentioned Aston Martin had some pace, but don't think that's his actual pace. I think he might have been held up. But we're going to be starting P7, and Lewis Hamilton obviously is going to drop back. So yeah, let's jump into this British Grand Prix, see if we can make some moves.
Welcome to not only the home of British motorsport, but also the birthplace of the Formula One World Championship. It's race day here at Silverstone, a classic on the calendar, and it's time for the British Grand Prix. Straddling the border of Northamptonshire and Buckinghamshire, the 18 corners of Silverstone Circuit form the 3.6-mile beating heart of Formula One. It's been reinvented over the years, with Turn 1 now the fast right-hander of Abbey, but the magic of racing is as strong here as it's ever been. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. just ahead of George Russell, who starts this event from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Norris, Perez, Stroll, Mr. Monaco, Oscar Piastri, Fernando Alonso, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Bottas, Hamilton, Albon, Gasly, Joe, Hulkenberg, Sargent, Magnussen, and Esteban Ocon lines up at the back of the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today.
Well, here we are sat on the car ready for the start of the British Grand Prix. We have 26 laps ahead of us. We're going to go, you know what? Let's go soft to medium. So I was going to go medium to hard, but let's go soft to medium so I can try to make up some more positions at the start of the race.
The formation lap gets underway then, and it's going to be interesting today to see how the dry conditions could affect the lifespan of the tyres.
Well, never mind there, as everyone seems to be starting on the soft compound tires aside from George Russell in second place.
As the cars make their way back to the starting grid to form up and get ready for lights out, let's hope the race ahead today is a thrilling one that will go down as a memorable Grand Prix in the history books.
Well, last time out in Austria was certainly a memorable race. Will it be the same here in Silverstone? So we line up P7, the lowest we've qualified in quite a while. Now the green flag is going to wave as we have 3, 4, 5 red lights for the British Grand Prix. It's lights out, and away we go. We get a magnificent start there. In the second phase, not as quick as the initial getaway, but now we are going to try to go right the way around the outside of Lance Stroll. We're still side by side with the Aston Martin drivers. There's a little bit of contact, and now Fernando Alonso, the wily old fox, is just going to look right past both of us, as now we have that's Oscar Piastri trying to go around our outside. So now we have lost 2 places off the start due to that contact with Lance Stroll. I just tried to force him out wide and he did not comply. Now we're going to head down into Brooklands for the first time of 26. Can we get a decent run coming out of Woodcote? Maybe to have a look at Piastri going into Cobbs. So I'm just struggling to get on the power there. But Hamilton already making a decent recovery as well, just outside of the points. So now we're going to look around the outside of Oscar Piastri. Would you look at that? We got a beautiful run in Cobbs. And now we're going to soar right past him going into Maggots. He has to back out there. And now we are just behind Lance Stroll. So we have quite the race ahead of us now. Will we have the pace to start making up positions? I think Max Verstappen leads the way at the end of lap 1 from our teammate Charles Leclerc. And could our teammate have a look at a first Grand Prix victory of the season? Whoa, as we bounce over the curbs there, that's new. So our teammate Charles Leclerc has now taken the lead of the British Grand Prix as we head up towards Farm and the Loop. So we're going to head through it now, a little wide. Can we go up and under and get a little bit of a better exit than the Aston Martin ahead? Doesn't seem like it. Mark there just telling me to use a little bit of battery, which we probably could use. But now this Ferrari car is just so ruthless on its tires around this circuit. Combined with my aggressive driving style, tire management has never been one of my strong points in the Formula 1 games. So we're going to head through Cobb's Corner. So we've just been steadily gaining on Lance Stroll ahead of us. But then where we're losing the most time, we gain all the way through Maggots and the first part of Beckett's, and then we head through this corner right here, and we just can't seem to get the car properly slowed down. And then we just fall back by a tenth of 2. But we've stayed with him more this lap. So we head down towards Vale. Whoa, locking the rear tires there, and then we go over the curb. That might cost us a little bit of time. Luckily not too much. But now we just need to sit back and wait for an opportunity to come to us. So we now have a mighty run on Lance Stroll. That was beautiful through that corner. Now we're going to have a look around the outside at Stowe. Will we be far enough ahead to make the move stick? Yes, we will, and he's just going to give way there. So now we're up into P7 where we started this Grand Prix with Fernando Alonso just ahead of us.
Okay, mate, we're seeing a lot of tyre wear in the data. Please focus on looking after your tyres.
So team's telling me I need to focus more on managing my rubber, which we could definitely do with. But it's just so difficult to do that while staying with the cars ahead, but I will try my best. Well, here we go. Can we make a move past Fernando Alonso? We're going to get a beautiful run up into, into Abbey. And now we are going to just try to park it on the apex and cover him off. So now we are up into 6th place past Fernando Alonso, but he's going to go for a look on us up the inside now into Brooklands. And now he's just going to retake that position. And now into left field, he's going to go a little bit defensive. So now he retakes that spot as he harvests a little bit of battery. But now we're going to power all the way down the old pit straight towards Cobbs. Can we go up the inside at Cobbs corner? We've seen what happens there if you try to make that move, and I'm not going to risk it. Now we head towards Beckett's. Now we've just dropped back a little bit from Fernando Alonso, which is causing him to drop back from Lando Norris. We can't have that. We need to try to stay with the McLaren ahead if we want any chance of finishing in the top 5. So we need to make this move very soon with Fernando as we just romp over the curbs there, and now all that hard work we've done is going to be completely reversed as now we lose 2 places and we're down into 9th behind Piastri. Just great. But we are going to be close enough to launch one down the inside on the young Australian driver. So that's at least 1 place gain, but now we are back behind Lance Stroll. We're all over the back of Lance Stroll coming on to the hangar straight, and he's not going to have DRS ahead, so we should just be able to go right on past him with a slipstream and some DRS. And now into Stowe, we go right the way up the inside of the Canadian, and we're up into 7th place. And now we need to get back past Fernando Alonso. And now Lance Stroll's all over the back of us as we go down the old pit straight. He's going to look for a move up the inside at Cobbs. Just going to lift off a little bit there as we go side by side with the Canadian driver. And now he's going to try to go up our inside going into Maggots. No way is he going to stay there. So we just get all out of shape there over the curbs. Fernando 1.7 ahead, excuse me. We cannot lose touch with him, but now we have 2 people coming on us as now we're going to get Ricardo Zonta there. But on this occasion, only Stroll, as there's a little bit of contact there. I didn't see him on my inside as there's just a whole bunch of tire locking going on, and now we're down into 9th place. Well, at least we are managing our tires how the team wants us to, but I think we're just really losing touch with Fernando Alonso now. And I really didn't want this to happen, but it seems it is what is happening. Just try to get on the power early, but not close enough to Lance Stroll. Well, team want us in at the end of this lap. And that is what we will do. But yeah, I think a top 5 finish is becoming more and more unlikely. As you can just see the gap all the way ahead of Fernando Alonso. Not very likely we'll catch up to them unless we get a safety car late on in the day here in Silverstone.
Okay, mate, engine's running very hot. Engine very hot. Let's try and pull out from behind the car in front and cool things down.
So that MGU-H that I said last time out in Austria that I was going to replace in Hungary, I still haven't replaced. So the engine's getting very hot. Now here comes Lewis Hamilton to his home Grand Prix, only running in 10th. And now we're going to have a drag race all the way down to Cobbs. And he's just going to back out there. So I went very wide on the exit of left field by mistake. But now we're just going to have the downforce to catch right back up to these two here. Will we see either Piastri or Stroll into the pit lane?
Box this lap. Keep an eye on the distance and speed limit line as you approach and make sure you don't speed.
Oh, here goes Lance Stroll around the outside at Stowe Corner. But Piastri is just going to inch ahead as they're still going side by side, as none of them are going to peel in the pit lane. We certainly are, though. These tires are completely finished, as now we get the car nice and slowed down. And Fernando Alonso is into the pit lane, as is Lando Norris. So can we pull off an undercut if Piastri and Stroll keep on battling the way they are? We need a nice clean stop if we want that to happen. There we go. The new patch that came out, the one that affects the curb realism and behavior of the cars over them and things like that, also mentioned that the pit crews will not make nearly as many mistakes. So good news there. As now we need to get on the throttle as soon as possible. A little bit slow out of the pit lane as we cross the white line. Only get a warning, luckily. So these cold tires have absolutely zero grip. As now we're 2 seconds behind Fernando. What can we do from here?
Charles is in the pits.
Okay, our teammate Charles Leclerc now coming into the pit lane, who is in the fight up at the front for the lead of the race. As I believe that's George Russell and one of the Red Bulls staying out. Not sure if that's Verstappen or Sergio Perez. We'll find out in a short while. Now we haven't really been gaining on Norris and Alonso ahead of us. They've actually been pulling away just a few tenths this lap. And now where will we come out? Will we come out ahead of Piastri and Stroll? Yes, we will, but not by much, just about a second. But our tires are also warmer, so we should pull away at the start of this lap. His team wants us to charge up a little bit of battery, so I'll make sure to do that. So the gap's just been fluctuating on the cars in front and behind. But we are currently where we started in P7. Whoa, big slide there. So Max Verstappen leads this Grand Prix. So our mystery Red Bull was Sergio Perez. So now Russell, Alonso, and Norris and all them are going to be fighting. Can we come up to the back of them? Will there be some sort of concertina effect that can allow us to make some moves if we can catch up to the back of the two-time champ? But yeah, Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc seem to be in a league of their own here today in this cloudy day in Silverstone. Started off sunny, now it's very overcast. Shouldn't be any rain though. So now we are gaining a few tenths through that first sector. So hopefully we can catch up to the back of them. We've just been steadily closing the gap ahead, and these medium tires feel so much more durable than these soft compound tires. They're not wearing nearly as fast. Are we now into the DRS gap? Nope, we're not, and that certainly won't help our chances. We just got onto the grass. We're pushing like hell to try to stay with George Russell here. So now Russell has fallen out of the DRS range of Fernando Alonso ahead of him, so he won't have that advantage down the straights anymore. So you can just see how much we're gaining on him through some of these corners. I want to get past him now, preferably this lap down the hanger straight. before our tires start to go off and his start to come to him, because then there will be no way past him. And we can kiss a top 5 finish goodbye at that point. But now we are certainly going to gain on him through Maggots and Beckett's completely flat through the first parts here. So we get the car about slowed down, and now could this be our chance? We're going to drain the batteries. We go purple through the middle sector. And now we are going to be forced to the inside since he blocked the outside.
Brilliant, nice move, keep going.
So now that is a nice, clean, textbook move. Up into 6th position now at this Grand Prix. See if I can get the car planted. Oh, we got yellow flags out. Somebody has some issues. Is it a car behind or ahead? I'm not sure there. Oh, yeah, it is Perez. Sergio Perez now out of the Grand Prix. So now that puts us up a place, up into 5th. So I was just looking at the map there as we passed him going down the old pit straight.
Okay, well, it wasn't to be this time, but not to worry. There's a long way to go in this race, so let's focus.
Oh, we have more yellow flags now.
Okay, clear.
Down in the Vale chicane. What's going on there? Can't really tell. I'm trying to focus. As now Valtteri Bottas in his Sauber car pulls off to the wayside with what I would assume is a mechanical failure. So the gap is now 1.9 to Alonso ahead, so 2 seconds up the road for us to gain by the time the checkered flag falls. Will we be close enough to make a move? As now we just got to go a little defensive from George Russell. That's going to cost us a 10th or 2. As I want to save up some battery and go for a very quick lap to try to gain on Fernando.
Okay, here's the gap that we're trailing the car ahead by.
Here comes George Russell. He's going to try to go around the outside, and he's not even going to need that line. He's just going to zoom by us by the time we get to the braking zone. So now we're back down to 6th position. And I really didn't want this to happen because now we're going to lose to Alonso. So we now head past Valtteri Bottas's stricken Sauber. Whoa, beauteous run there, as we're not even going to need the hanger straight to get past George. So clearly so much more downforce through that second sector, as we've said many a time in this race. So now the gap is down to 1.7 with Fernando. Now we need to focus back on getting past him, as we are going to round the final corner. We're going to start the penultimate lap of the race. Not so sure if we can gain 8 tenths in 1 lap on him. Certainly don't have the battery to do so, but we will try with all our might. Well, we need to have a perfect line through Maggots and Beckett's onto the hanger straight if we want any chance of passing Fernando on the final lap of the Grand Prix, as Max Verstappen leads the way. Whoa! Big ol' snap there. But I think we could be close enough if we push with all our might. Charles Leclerc is going to have one more opportunity and one more lap to get the job done and get past Verstappen and stop his winning and take his first win of the season. So we'll see what happens there, but now the gap is under a second as we come out of club, and now it's not,
Okay, mate, final lap of the race, final lap.
as I'm draining everything I have. Now,
The car
nope.
behind is dropping back by about 3/10 of that. Well done.
Okay. Shut up, Mark.
Got that confirmed.
Okay. So now Mark will be quiet and stop distracting me. No DRS here. But we do have a massive slipstream, and I'm actually going to harvest a little bit of battery going into this section of corners. Is now for the final time we head through Luffield, Woodcote, and onto the old pit straight. Will we gain what we need through Maggots and Beckett's to make a last lap lunge into Stowe or Vale? Not the best line through Cobbs, but now we're going to push with everything we have through Maggots and Beckett's. And no, unfortunately, we will not be close to Fernando Alonso, or close enough for the DRS. One more lap and we would have got past him for sure, but now, as we head into the final corner, Charles Leclerc wins the British Grand Prix, his first race victory of the season. And now we are going to launch ourselves over the curbs, and now that is going to be
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
P5 at the end of the British Grand Prix. Decent recovery from us, but it could have been so much more had I optimized the setup. Pierre Gasly takes driver of the day.
Charles Leclerc, what a drive, what a victory, he wins!
Race victory and fastest lap as well. You can see how much, by the way, that fastest lap mattered to them today. It's a bit like marking your territory, isn't it, Crofty? They're looking for absolute dominance, and this seems to be their mission this year.
Here come our winners now, a thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
So, Leclerc now back to the top step of the podium as he gives a thumbs up to his team and to the crowd. Max Verstappen second, Lando Norris third, and now the champagne is going to spray. Celebrations for Ferrari. It's a 1-5 here in Silverstone.
After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
Well, Charles Leclerc there from Max Verstappen by half a second from third on the grid. So Leclerc, great effort from him. So that is now 26 points for us. And we scored 10, finishing fifth, 8 seconds off. So we were just so close to Fernando. I believe if we had one more lap, we would have got past him up into fourth, but clearly wasn't meant to be. George Russell behind us, then Oscar Piastri, Lewis Hamilton, Lance Stroll, Pierre Gasly from 15th on the grid, making it up to score points for Alpine. So I can see why he was dubbed driver of the day by the fans. Then comes Daniel Ricciardo, Yuki Tsunoda, Alex Albon, Nico Hülkenberg, Kevin Magnussen, Zhou Guanyu, Logan Sargent, Esteban Ocon, and Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez having those DNFs. So that will not help Red Bull in the constructors' standings, but in the drivers' standings, we are 45 points behind as Max Verstappen extends his lead, and Charles Leclerc overtakes Lando Norris for third in the drivers' championship. Then in the constructors, we lead still and extend, so that is 35 points to Red Bull and the McLaren behind them. So, yeah, this was an exciting race. Not quite as exciting as Austria, but I don't think anything will beat that this season. But next time out, we are going to Budapest for the Hungarian Grand Prix and the penultimate round before the Formula One summer break. So I'm super excited for Hungary, and maybe we can make a comeback there. But for now, it is goodbye, and I'll see you guys next time out at the Hungaroring.